You're listening to Podcast PXN,
a video game podcast,
delivering player experience news.
Let's go!
You may be wondering why the extended period of silence starting this episode. For dramatic effect, sure. But because I have one question to ask you, and one question only. Is gaming back? And welcome to Podcast PXN, episode 251. I am one of your hosts, video essayist and video producer at The Gamer, no spaces, Christian Macias. And I'm joined over Discord by Kentucky's #1 Spartan, PXN founder, and the lovely host that he was, Daniel Prindle, aka Dan is DTM.
I was a terrible host.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
I'm just kidding.
Exactly. The president of the Tifa Lockhart fan club, Rashan Warner, is not here. He's on vacation. Actually, I think he's not even there yet. I think he's still en route. I would gather. Airline delays usually are pretty frequent. I gather he's not even there yet. Maybe just settling in. Wishing Ro a lovely vacation in an undisclosed location. What's up, bro? And of course, the third person Sigma himself, Gage Dempster.
Happy to be here. I love that title. I forgot you made that one for me.
I did too. I don't open up the personal document often, but when I do, when I remember to do so, it's there. There and waiting.
Yep.
Here, before we continue the show, here we go. Relaxing by a crackling campfire near the frozen river in the mountains with snow falling quietly. There you go. Something to listen to for my ears while I do the rest of the show. I need something in the background. Can't just do silence. Anyway, thank you to everyone joining us live and participating in the chat. Just as a reminder, we're live each and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, except for last week. We needed a little break. You can follow us over on youtube.com at podcastpxn, excuse me, as well as twitch.tv/podcastpxn simultaneously as well. Topic of the show this week is we're breaking down gaming in the second half of 2024. Expectations for games beyond just guessing their open critic score, but I mean what we want from those games, what we're expecting out of any possible conferences, and of course, sort of what we're expecting for Game of the Year in all categories, whatever we have in mind. We're going to throw those at you that way. But before we do that, the show always starts with the quick bites. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I lied. There's no quick bites. I figured news of the week, fantasy draft, and topic of the show, and what you got for me. It's gonna take up the entirety of the show, and we'll still run long somehow. So we're going straight into news of the week, starting with Concord beta impressions and discourse. Why are we starting with Concord? You're asking me. If this whole segment is gonna take up the whole chunk of time, right? Nobody else played it except for me. Why would we throw that out here? Because it's important. Because the discourse is important. I played Concord for about, I don't know, 3 to 4 hours, and I, like many others online, actually ended up agreeing, yeah, this is a solid multiplayer game. This is fun even sometimes. Took a while for it to click with me, but once it did, I'm yeah, I get the appeal. That is where I think it stops for me. Where I think it is fine enough. And I ended up watching SkillUp's video where he actually even really dissects how the systems work and how anti-player engagement a lot of this kind of is, and I found that fascinating. But he's right, it's not in this current landscape of live service gaming, it's not good enough to be just a solid game. You have to be amazing and you have to be impressionable. Concord was none of that for me. And I'm wondering how you guys feel just being on the outside of that, if you guys even saw some reactions or videos of Concord or even just kind of getting feelers out there for the actual game itself.
Honestly, I'm not a huge hero shooter, fanboy, so I haven't, this game really hasn't done anything for me, and it's kind of always looked like a bit of a Overwatch, rip off, so to speak. Honestly, I haven't really had any desire to go in myself, but hearing from other people, I think similar sentiments to what you were saying. But yeah, I don't
Can I butt
know.
in for a second?
Yeah.
This is the. I mean, it's more. If I had to compare it to a game, I would throw in Overwatch, but I wouldn't call it a hero shooter because it plays more like a Rainbow Six style than anything else. Obviously,
Oh.
longer TTKs, but like outside abilities, there are no like unique supers that your character can use. It is just the abilities, and the abilities aren't like game changing. They don't change the flow of the game. They're like tools to help you in an encounter, but they're not going to turn the tide of any like long engagement. And in that regard, it feels more like a Rainbow Six, like picking a character that's going to help you in a given situation with the tool, but that's it.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's very different than what I thought it was. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Gage, yeah, any thoughts?
No, I mean, I think you're both right. Christian mentioned earlier that like in order to break out into the hero shooter, if we want to call it that, it certainly leans in that direction. If you want to break out into that market, you definitely need to do something different and something to really sort of capture people's attention. What I wonder is that even though the game seems to be getting, we'll say, like lukewarm to positive feedback, like a lot of the stuff I'm seeing is like 6.5 out of 10. People are kind of feeling it. Some people like it more. What I wonder if the curveball is that their approach to lore and in-game events with their whole weekly schedule. First of all, if they can even do it and keep it up, because that's a lot to commit yourself to as a dev team. And then B, does that change things? Is that the unique curveball that can keep people interested instead of having to wait every 3 months for a new season, a new drop? If this weekly sort of refresh, whatever the scale of it is, if that's enough to keep people's attention. That's the only thing I'm wondering. Like I said, I have not been able to play it yet, so I guess that's the only curveball I'd throw to you guys if you think that would be enough to stand out.
Okay. Okay. I think that the issue there is, correct me if I'm wrong, Christian, you may know better than I would, but I thought that the weekly thing was just like a cinematic, basically, that they were making weekly. I don't know that they necessarily said that new content was coming weekly, like in terms of in-game stuff. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but like,
No, just the cinematic.
Yeah, and like,
Okay.
and like the important thing as well is that like for that to continue, the game is gonna have to be successful. If the game's not successful, that shit's gonna go away real quick. Like
You're totally right.
because that's the exact same thing that happened with Halo Infinite's multiplayer story. And you know, some people liked it, some people didn't, whatever. But like the player count dropped significantly, and they stopped doing the cinematics to focus on the gameplay additions.
Right. Because that is where, like, if the gameplay is the multiplayer, then that is where resources you think would be going, because that's what's going to draw people in, and not the cinematics that last like 90 seconds to 120, and then, you know, that's it. Every time you boot it up, you get the same cinematic too, by the way, like if it's like in that same week, as from what I gather. I think if like you're curious to learn about, like, I'm the kind of person that when a game is like in this weird spot where like it's both good but also like has like a lot of criticism against it, I'll go watch videos about it. Like when Gotham Knights came out, I was like, yeah, the Digital Foundry video that's like hyper analyzing all the things that is wrong with like the PC port of this game. Absolutely, I jumped on that video. I would strongly encourage you to watch like the 25-minute video from SkillUp where it's like, hey, this is a good game, but here's everything about this game that is going to make it probably DOA. And in it, he was talking about, you know, poor pre-order numbers, where like at the 11th hour, Sony opened it up to the closed beta to PlayStation Plus users as well. And the PC numbers were reflective of one would gather of the pre-order numbers and how small they are, because it peaked at like just over 1,000 players concurrent.
Oh wow!
And that's really low for a live service title. Yeah, and if you like, it is worth looking at the ways that you build characters in that game, the systems of like how it all like works, because it feels like it's not a system meant for me to engage and like find a character that I play as, because you're actually in the like hardcore playlists discouraged from sticking with a certain character. One of the playlists is if you win a round with your character, you can't pick that character anymore. You have to pick a different character or a variant of the same character. But if you pick the same variant, they have different passives that help your team. But the passives aren't listed. They're small icons that you can barely make out what they are. And also, if you want to customize that variant, you can only do so on one variant and not for the. It gets extremely convoluted pretty fast, and it's like, this is like worrisome for a game that comes out in a month. And I think having a longer beta over the course of several months before releasing, I think would have done this game like a lot of good. Like, you know, I think Valorant was in beta for a long time. Other live service games get betas for a super long time. Having just one beta right before release, just a stress test and nothing else, is kind of worrisome because the content just isn't there, I think, for me.
And I think the other issue is that like this game being a live service itself has its own problems, because as we're seeing with so many other games, they're all fighting for the same gamers' attention, that there's only so many games that can be like the top of success at that point in time. Like, you know, we're seeing Helldivers 2 take a nosedive in terms of active player counts, and people are talking about that online. Does that mean Helldivers 2 is not a great experience? No, it just means that there's so much other shit that people are experiencing, and that's kind of a worry as well for something like Concord that maybe isn't as revolutionary.
If I'm a console player looking for like a new shooter, like maybe I'm tired of Destiny, or maybe I'm tired of Overwatch. You know what I'm looking at Valorant, because that's like releasing on console soon, and that'll fill the itch. I don't think like Concord will do that. And Valorant is free to play, I think.
Yep.
Concord is not.
That's a great point.
Anyway, let's move on. I forgot to hyperlink something, so fill some time for me real quick.
Man, can you believe, Gage, the state that Halo's in? No, I'm just kidding. Right now,
Is Halo back?
is Halo not coming back?
Not coming back.
No, I'm kidding. There's a
I
lot
need
of
the press release.
getting some press releases. We're gonna make up a song while Christian's. Oh, sorry.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna go. I found an article for Windows Central. I'm gonna use the bullet points from the top, and we'll work from there. There's an official. We'll work with this. Here we go. Item number 2. This is, I think, now like a week and a half old. Like, it happened when we were leaving Kentucky, but we haven't talked about it, and I think it is pretty big to talk about, so we should. So here goes. Xbox Game Pass is getting another price increase, as well as some changes coming to the way the different tiers work. I understand why some say it's like simple, but it's also a little bit complex, a little bit needlessly convoluted, in the same way I think PlayStation is needlessly convoluted as well. So I'm going to do my best to, I think, get everything right. So I'm going to follow Windows Central's breakdown. So here we go. Of course, Microsoft all-you-can-eat gaming subscription service, incorporating hundreds of games and day one titles from Microsoft's internal studios, including ABK titles like the next Call of Duty. Oh, I thought it goes on. I'm sorry. This is what happens when you put a show doc together on the fly and you forget a hyperlink. You get shit like that. Here we go. New users will not be able to sign up for Xbox Game Pass for console. Not their traditional method. Instead, a new standard tier is coming soon, which will not include day one games, but will include the hundreds of strong back catalog games, similar to EA Access. And it will also give you Xbox Live Gold for multiplayer. I think there's also Xbox Core, which does give you gold and does give you day one. No, is that Ultimate?
No, I don't think Core gives you day one. Or it gives you some day one and not all.
Core does not give you day one.
Okay, I found the actual breakdown here. Xbox Game Pass for console. That's the official title. is being shuttered for new users only. You can get grandfathered in if you bought it 2 weeks ago. I think it's no longer offered now. Users, yeah, here we go. Exactly what I just mentioned. You get grandfathered in. New users on Xbox Game Pass in the near future will be greeted by a new Xbox Game Pass standard. That's the very basic tier that you can get. And as mentioned, you do not get day one games, but you get the Game Pass backlog catalog, and it's priced at $14.99 per month, US dollars. I think it's like $3 more Canadian, if I remember right. And that does include Xbox Live Gold, which is now known as Game Pass Core. Here we go. There's a second tier I can't find on this article. But the third tier is Game Pass Ultimate is going up to, I think, $19.99 per month. Correct. And you can stack 3-month prepaid cards with a 33% discount on the current pre-increasing pricing with keys. Only up to 13
September.
months? Yeah.
It's right. You can only do that up until September, and then you won't be able to do that anymore as well.
Sure. As you can tell, it's a little bit convoluted for me because of the 3 tiers. Also, the way this article is working, I don't remember right. Some things that are important to note is that this did go against what they said in court during the ABK acquisition trial, where they said that these prices will not increase. Of course, when you spend billions of dollars to acquire companies, prices do usually increase. And offering Call of Duty day one on Xbox, it would not make sense to have a subscription-based service cost as low as it does when you're putting out big titles like this. In the long run, just wouldn't work out. I'm gonna stop myself there because I need to find that like the tier breakdown. If you guys have thoughts, please jump in right now.
Christian, I can't believe you struggled through that. This is no, it's not easy. This is fucking confusing as fuck. The way they have laid this out is awful. It's like they've renamed things so many times now too that it's fucking become a nightmare, because now Game Pass Core is essentially Xbox Live Gold of previous years with, those handful of games thrown in there. So it's like we have Game Pass Core there, but then you've got Game Pass Standard, which includes Game Pass Core because it has online, and then it also has the Game Pass game. Fuck. There's too many fucking things here. It's just really confusing. Tom Warren even posted when he was, I saw when he was live tweeting about the reveal of this happening in real time. He had to remake his tweet like 6 times because he kept,
edit?
Yeah. It's like, it's so fucking confusing for no reason. And yeah. And the biggest thing for me is, now how do you message this for the consumer? Because personally, I still think that $19.99 for Game Pass Ultimate is a good deal for me. I mean, maybe not everyone, like if you're not purchasing, many first party titles, for instance. But like, how do you market this to your average Joe when you can't just say anymore, this is available on Game Pass day one? Now you have to specify, well, it's on Game Pass Ultimate and it's on Game Pass Standard day one. I'm sorry, not standard. It's on Game Pass for console. See, I even fucked it up there. It's on Game Pass for console day one, but that's only for existing users that, are grandfathered in, and it's on PC Game Pass as well, but like it's too much.
I'm gonna say something here. This past week has been riddled with conspiracy theories. There are lots of things going on. The conspiracy theory, I believe, is that Xbox is doing this so that people will throw their hands up and say, I'll just get Ultimate. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what I get with all these different tiers. I'll just get Ultimate. Because this is ridiculous. This is so not clear. This is like the days of old with the EA release charts of like needing to decipher what you get with which edition you get. This is crazy, dude. And the naming schemes don't make any sense. I don't know how this is better than just doing Game Pass Gold, Game Pass Silver, Game Pass Ultimate or something like that. Like, I don't know. This is crazy.
Can I just say, I'm going to steal Christian's line. Can I Can I
Here
just
we
say,
go.
PC gamers are fucking winning because PC Game Pass $11.99 and you get day one games. That's incredible.
That's the only tier that's not changing is
Right.
PC gaming, which is big. That conspiracy theory is interesting, I think, for me. At least in terms of like online rhetoric. From what I've seen online from like pundits or whatever on Twitter, people like who are having a vocal outlash to this is like, this is too confusing, I'm just canceling. But I
Right.
think you're right though, in terms of like, how does that translate to actual consumers of any product really? Like the like high school kid who got an Xbox for
Right.
Christmas maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. What is he going to do? He's not going to give a shit about these 3 tiers. Yeah, you would think that he was going to save his money and get one of these cards to get like probably Ultimate. And that, I think that is like probably true of like wider audiences, excuse me. So I think you're probably right there. Dan, I was going to question you on like, are you really getting your best value from Ultimate? Like, and this is me judging on like the kinds of games you play throughout the year. But then I realized things like cloud gaming and just like cloud saves is pretty clutch with the way you switch from PC and console. So
yeah, because like many times I'll switch back and forth between PC and console for different games we're playing, and and also the amount of first party games that I play, because there's a lot of Xbox exclusives that I enjoy. I think that's part of it as well. If I could just convert to be a PC gamer, then save some money, but yeah, I don't know.
can I just say,
Go for it.
does Xbox Ultimate include Xbox Live Gold?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
It also includes EA Play on Xbox, which gives you 10-hour trials to EA games, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Oh, there it is. I see online console multiplayer. Okay. Looks like, wait, hold on. Any of the Game Pass tiers give you online multiplayer? Core, standard, ultimate, PC, obviously.
Correct.
Okay.
Except for Game Pass for console does not, which is the one that's grandfathered in.
Yeah. I had gotten it confused because there's that one's going away. Core is the basic tier. Then standard is the second one, which was I got it confused because I thought standard was the basic tier. It's not. It's the middle tier. Very weird naming schemes, but
that's one thing they did right, was actually include online for every tier now, because it was too confusing not having online multiplayer for some of the tiers besides the one that's grandfathered in, of course.
Yeah, but now it's going to get confusing with no day one games.
For sure.
Anyway, let's move on. Oh shit, I forgot about this. Our next and final item for news of the week is our episode 250 breakdown. I wish Ro were here for this. He's not. We miss you though. We all met in Kentucky for the first time, with the caveat of Dan and I having met at the Game Awards a couple years ago. And I wanted just to for us to talk for like a few minutes about what it was like to hang together, some of the stuff we did, some of the eats we had, some of the games we played. And we were talking about this in the pre-show, so I don't know if you guys want to pick it up wherever. What the fuck were we talking about in the pre-show?
I don't know. What were we talking about in the pre-show? Oh, we were talking about all the restaurants, right? Or food?
We were. It was food.
Yeah.
Eating out every day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eating out every day.
Feeling gross after doing that a whole week.
But was it not a good time?
Yes.
To sip on some brews, throw on some whatever game like Played Up, and just giggle in person. Do you know what I mean?
Dude, the best part about the whole week was every time somebody got up, someone was on playing something, and then we just slowly jumped on, and then there would slowly be something going on. I'd be playing something, and then Christian jumps on, or Christian's playing something, Gage jumps on. We had some FIFA matches, we had some Played Up.
I think the biggest thing that I mean, aside from all of us meeting, which was great, and it went incredibly smoothly. It felt like I don't know, not to get too deep on the podcast, but it felt like we had known each other for longer than we actually had. We all kind of just gelled immediately, and there's bickering, there was some choice words, but I mean, it just felt like just a bunch of guys hanging out, and the main thing I want to get at was couch co-op gaming, which is something that I've not been able to do. I feel like a lot of us probably haven't been able to do in a while, and that was such a great like nostalgic throwback. But like, you're not just enjoying it because it's nostalgic, you're enjoying it because you realize like, oh shit, there's something to this. There's something to being in a room with, three of your pals just yelling at each other, screaming at the TV. And yeah, that was something that I cherished a lot. On top of all the events and like you said, the fine dining we did and all that stuff, like that was a really cool moment, especially playing Rock Band, which we haven't mentioned yet. But that is a very situational game that you can only get together and do at a certain time, and we were able to get the full four instruments going, and man, that was a great time. That was a great time.
I think, should we reveal what each of us was doing in Rock Band?
Sure.
What do you mean reveal? Well, it's like not like a secret.
The audience doesn't know. The audience doesn't know. They're on the edge of their seats. Like, are they thinking, man, is Christian the rocker, like he's lead singer, or is he a drummer, like he's drumming out? I don't know.
I could not work your drums. I could not get those to feel good for me.
I hate the Rock Band drums. I wish the Guitar Hero drums were back.
Right.
Yeah, that was so. Okay, since Christian doesn't want to reveal it, Christian was the lead guitarist, right?
Yep.
Gage was the bass guitarist. Of course, Ro was our fucking amazing drummer on this piece of shit drums.
Yep.
And Dan was singing.
Dan was singing on that mic, and you were giving her. You were absolutely giving her.
You know what? I fucking love Jimmy Fallon's like skits that he does when he does like singing, and he fucking acts like the people that are singing. He may not be good at it, but it's just, I always enjoyed watching that. So every fucking song that I didn't know on Rock Band, I was just trying to fucking just be like that, like imitate their voice instead of, playing it serious.
Right. There was one that got me. I don't know if we were doing Rush or if it was The Police, but there was one where you were like, yeah, like shortly into the song, when you realized that you were not going to be able to get the words at all, you just started like mimicking the distinct way that this like old rocker was singing, and that got me. That was good.
You remember when we got him to sing Sick Muse?
That was great.
I don't remember.
No, it was Combat Baby.
Was it? Oh, shit.
It was Combat Baby, yeah.
Yes, I remember that one.
Great song. Great song.
Baby. What was the song that was literally like 8 minutes long? I felt like it didn't end. Like, I don't remember.
That's probably Rush.
That might have been the Rush song. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember you were like complaining about doing the
Oh yeah.
like the cowbell for
Yeah.
a while, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, because that shit hurts. It fucking, when you're pounding that mic in your hands that many times.
Well,
Dan complaining, saying, "I've never heard of this Rush band. You never heard of Tom Sawyer? Come on, you've heard that song before."
Sure. Also, fucking Jackbox, the picture game, incredible.
That's true.
Yeah, Champed Up's fantastic.
Yeah, we can't reveal all the pictures that were on there, but there was a lot of bangers on there.
Listen, Gage loses a lot of contests on this show, but I'd like to throw my hat in the ring and say I might be the champion of Champed Up.
Honestly, you
might. I think I cooked a little bit when we were playing that game.
I was gonna say, Ro has in the bag. He's like, he's the artist of it.
Yes.
Push came to shove.
The ADHD goblin brain it came out.
Gage just draws Uncle Mark and he's got it.
Down to the shirt.
What's the most foul demon I can come up with for this category? And like, there it is.
And what's great is that I'm not an artist. I can't draw, but it's just good enough to land the joke of whatever bit I'm trying to do.
I gotta say, I love even online, I think Ultimate Chicken Horse is always a fan favorite of mine.
Yep.
Oh, we know
Little brew, a couple of laughs. What's up?
We know a person that's a fan favorite of yours too.
That's true. We will not name on the podcast. We will not name on the podcast just in case.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Ultimate Chicken Horse was one of those couch co-op games though that got intense. Although
Yes.
I would say Christian's right. It's probably the same level of intensity online as well. But
yeah. What? So, sorry, Christian.
Us discovering the double box recently online was a game changer, I think, for me. That's fun.
I might prefer that over the standard mode. I think.
I think I do too.
Yeah.
It's insane with the amount of things that are on screen when that.
That's what you want.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what you
for
want.
sure. Yeah. There was a couple that I was like, how did we even finish that? That was insane. So what was your guys' favorite place that we went to? Whether it be food, entertainment, whatever. What was your favorite place we went to?
I mean, it's tough because it's not that different than if I were to go to a Blue Jays game, but going to Cincinnati for a good old-fashioned American baseball game was definitely, it was fun. I think it was just good vibes. It was good weather. And it just happened to be a really good game with Rhys Hines being his first career game and him having a fucking standout performance that game.
Still killing it.
Still killing it, yeah, and it refused to stop apparently. But I'd have to say that, or maybe going to see what was the movie we saw? I know what it's called. Quiet Place Day One, which, aside from me forgetting the name, I did quite enjoy that film as well, and that was cool. It's always fun to go see a thriller with the lads.
I want to give a special shout out to Mini Golf IRL. That was a lot of fun. It was a bit too hot for me that day. Like I was really struggling in that first half because the first course is completely out in the sun. Very hot that day. I think for me, it would have been like going to City Barbecue because that food I think was my favorite.
It's so good.
I think we were there for like not enough time for me to like actually enjoy myself being there with you boys. So despite it not being my favorite, I'm gonna throw out La Rosa's. I think having that be like the third day, I'm now settled into like the routine of being with the lads, and we start off the day with like there's a soccer game on the TV at La Rosa's, and we have like this huge spread of food, and we just sit there for like almost an hour, just hanging, talking, and eating. That I think was my favorite like time to like chill. Also, the special shout out to coming back home one of the days and Dan being like, "Oh, who wants ice cream?" And we just sit there and get the 3 different flavors of ice cream. That was a lot of fun too.
Homemade.
Yes, Dan's homemade ice cream with his Ninja Creamy sponsored.
Yeah, click the link here.
That's the name of it.
Yeah.
Shut up.
No, that's it. Dan makes incredible ice cream for those wondering. Like top tier. The only thing that sucks, and you're totally right, and I wasn't expecting it, is how fast that melts. I'm guessing it just must be the ingredients or something. But man, is that not some of the best ice cream I've ever had? But it's like cereal. You got to eat it right away.
Yep. Yeah.
Wolf it down.
$200 right now.
Do what?
He's looking at
$200. I am.
$200. Yes. It was on sale, I think, for Prime Day yesterday.
Hold on. I know how Amazon works. They raise the price the day before, and then come Prime Day, they put it back to the original price.
Right.
Like, it's on sale. Like, no, it's not. No, it's not.
Yeah. You know what my favorite part was, guys?
What's that?
It was all of you being here. Because seriously, at the end of the week, Gage and Ro left in their car, and we waved goodbye, and Buck waved goodbye. We went back inside. Christian and I watched a little football, kind of chilled out a little bit.
You're missing something, dude.
Oh.
We had hot dogs and we watched the first episode of Severance together.
We did. You're right.
That was great. That was a vibe.
That was great, and I
What
finished
combo, hot dogs and Severance. Sorry, go ahead.
and I finished Severance that same week because you got me hooked on it. So shout out to you for that. But no, yeah, we were watching football after that. took you to the airport, dropped you off. As soon as I dropped you off, it fucking hit me like a brick wall that I was like, fuck, everybody's gone. Like, I was so sad. You guys don't even know. The next fucking 24 hours, I was so sad that I was like, oh, they're all gone. But of course, you're still here, just not physically here.
Sure.
Right.
But, yeah, shout out to you guys. You guys are awesome.
Have you looked underneath the guest bathroom sink, Daniel? Been
Do
waiting
what?
for this. You open up the sink?
No,
Underneath the sink? You
I
open up the
haven't.
drawers in there?
What the fuck is in there? I'm gonna.
He took a shit.
I didn't put anything in there. I didn't put a single thing in there. I just wanted him
That's
to get
amazing. That's amazing.
up. I just wanted him to get up. Oh, look, I can't find it. What do you?
I meant to do that though. I also forgot.
Yeah. He's not back. He's still looking. Oh my god. Oh, I feel bad now. Oh, I feel like a dick.
You underestimated his commitment to finding it.
Yeah. Oh, there he is. Here, watch this.
What are you fucking with me?
It's not.
There's nothing in there.
Yeah,
You son of a bitch! I just got. I was like, wait a minute. I don't see anything. I think he's fucking with me.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Anyway, thanks for having us over.
Oh God,
It was
no.
a good time. It was
Yes.
a good time.
Yes, you guys are.
Hey, you guys see Rose's video
Yes.
on Instagram?
That was very cool.
That one
I
hit.
agree. That was cool.
Just little short, 3 to 4 second clips all stitched together. Yeah, awesome. You guys are welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
I will be back. You won't know when. I'll come in the dead of night, but I will be back.
Yeah, and then you'll come in the dead of night, sneak in through my fucking basement, and then try to scare me and say that.
Forget that basement. Forget that basement, dude.
Let me tell you guys, sleeping
what
in Dan's
movie?
basement alone after watching It Follows was definitely an experience that I had.
Stupid. I still wish I would have went down there. That would have been so fun. I didn't realize you were that fucking scared.
You know what? You doing it would have been fine because you're not able to help yourself. You probably would have done like a loud noise and it would have been scary for a second. But if Christian had like just walked to the bottom of the stairs and stood in the doorway without saying anything and like I caught it later, oh my god, I don't know if I would still be here.
Just start breathing.
That basement needs like some rugs, some warm light lamps, maybe some art in the walls.
It needs.
Because right now it's like outside the air hockey table in like the little gym, it just looks like serial killer territory.
It needs to be finished. You want to come finish it for me?
If I can stay there for summer project, why not?
Come on down. Come on down.
There you go. All right, let's move on to our fantasy draft check-in. We had a little bit of movement. I'm so bummed. A couple of days ago, I screenshotted me overtaking everyone and being in first, and then scores have now settled in, and I am no longer in first. Let's go ahead and see what all the business has been about. Of course, the biggest game since our last check-in was Final Fantasy Dawn Trail, which is I think the last expansion for FF14. Got great scores, and then steadily over time, over the course of that week that it released, fixed itself a bit more negative than I would have liked. I think it's an 81 currently. So that's me 11 points. And originally I think it was like 86 or 87. So I'm sitting at 104 or 105. It went down again. I think it was 105 earlier, or like yesterday. And Roe still comfortably at 108. Dan, I think next week is the release of one of your games, EA College Football 2025, the first college football game in over a decade. Back then, I think it was NCAA. Early previews of the game are strong. There's been chatter about like some of the gameplay for some people not vibing as much, that some of the like systems in that game like just don't feel that good, but that's the minority. The majority is like this is just a return of an era of like football games that has been sorely missed, and even despite some shortcomings, it's still like a great game. I think people are expecting the game to land somewhere in the 80s. I don't know. I tried looking up when the review embargo is supposed to go up. Nothing on that. It comes out Monday, I think. So I would gather that it comes out Tuesday. I'd gather that either Friday or Monday is when reviews go up.
So I thought it came out Friday. Am I wrong on that?
There's an early access period, but the official release is next Tuesday.
Well, no, early access is already on right now. Early access started Tuesday.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
July 19th.
Yeah. So
you're right, Friday. Yep.
I will say I've seen the sentiment as well that it's been mostly positive. However, I'm a little concerned that may just be like people's like, excitement for NCAA football games just returning in general, because I have seen some critics saying that the game itself is not really complete, like not where it needs to be. From what I've seen, I haven't seen, everyone or anything. I think IGN already has a review in progress. They haven't posted it yet, but yeah, I also played a little bit of it, and I have, I think, a similar impression from it that it seems like maybe a little bit incomplete, like it was rushed out to be, ready this year. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm a little bit concerned, but
we'll find out. I forgot to mention too. There's today I think was the announcement that No Man's Sky got its 5.0 release. New fauna, new enemies, changes to weather. I don't think there's any like gameplay changes, but it's all like graphical stuff. I
saw something. I don't know what it entails. It's something that the community's been asking for, but there's something about a galaxy refresh as well, or universe refresh. Okay. I don't know if that means that what they're doing is maybe redoing the planets with some of the new stuff they've added, because they've obviously added so much over there. There is something there, but for the most part, it is just kind of minor stuff. Minor, quote unquote, as in this is like the 18th minor update for this game that has been free of charge for the player base.
I take it back. I did see there's some structure to some missions that you can do where like it's more combat focused.
Right.
Which I think is probably exciting for a lot of people. Swag. Before we get into the topic of the show, what you got for me, Dan? What have you been up to since we left?
What do I have for you? Well, first I want to shout out Glenn in the chat because he said that the ice cream would also melt because places that make ice cream, like for us here, Court, I don't know what that means, but the dairy, they use things to harden the ice cream. There's a whole process for hardening it, which that is a good point. They put a bunch of weird shit in there nowadays in ice cream that keeps it from melting.
That's true.
So, yeah. Good call, Glenn.
Glenn, he didn't take you to graders?
It's great. Incredible. Yeah, I played NCAA college football a little bit 2 nights ago, and I already kind of said a little bit that I do have a little bit of concern about it being rushed out. There's some weirdness to it, I'll call it. There is also things that I don't like that may just necessarily be like a personal thing where like the kicking in that game is fucking absurd. Like a lot of people have been saying they like how hard it is, but I messed with it and I'm just like, what the fuck am I even doing here? Like, I'm not even kidding. I was kicking an extra point and the football went sideways, like to the left. I missed that bad. And I'm like, it's not like I'm a rookie. Like I played Madden, my entire life, and I played NCAA back in the day. And yeah, it's very different. So I don't know if I like that, but yeah, some of it I would say is good though. Like the gameplay definitely feels unique, and that's a positive. I think that the gameplay is not just Madden. It's definitely not just Madden. It's its own identity. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, what you got for me else? All the games we played together for 250. I mean, we talked about it earlier, but played up, Jackbox, Speedrunners, absolutely. I love that game. Oh, yeah. Chicken Horse, FIFA. Oh, I'm sorry, FC 24. Christian, remind me, where are we sitting in our standings in FC 24?
Our series is tied up.
3-3.
3 wins, 3 losses, 1 tie.
That's true. Yeah.
10 points? 10 points each of us.
Yeah.
We should decide what we're playing to, first to X amount of points, or if you just want to like first to X wins or whatever.
We'll see what happens. You got to win by 2.
He can hardly contain himself.
You got to win by 2. You got to win by 2 no matter
what.
You got to win by 2 no matter what we do, so we could play forever. Like it could just keep going back and forth.
Yeah. We'll keep playing forever, but I'm not buying FC 25.
No, I didn't buy FC 24. I got it free with Game Pass.
And I'm so happy you brought that up, Daniel. Rose not here. I'm gonna use this as a transition for myself. I mentioned this on the Twitter, our thread. Yesterday, I made the I had to talk myself into it, but I tried to talk myself out of it more than anything. But I laid it all out. I laid out the pros and cons of what this could be, and here's what I decided. My PC is, I think for me, now turned into more of a work PC than a gaming PC. Even though I do still play games on it. It's my time is spent working on video production stuff, downloading assets, working with video, and then gaming supports that. So I run into a lot of issues with storage. We've talked about SSD cloning, but I looked into it, and from the people that I've talked to who have gone through it, they've all abandoned it because of all the issues of cloning SSDs, because I have no extra slot to put in an SSD. I could also get that thing where you can I think plug in an SSD USB, but you do sacrifice speeds. And then for both gaming and for video, I do not want that. So on Amazon, $100 off alleviates a lot of my storage issues that I currently have with gaming and working on my PC. Having something separate that I can then use to house a lot of specific clips and specific games on it. Yeah, I ended up buying an Xbox. Yeah, $100 off, not bad, huh? And I get a $50 gift card on top of that. So, very excited to pop that bad boy up. And if I do get a month of Ultimate or whatever, I think we can play. We can download FC 25 and give that a shot. Updated rosters, updated clubs.
Oh yeah, yeah. We get a 10-hour trial, and then you just have to wait until what months they usually put that in Game. Usually
right.
April or so, April or May, they'll throw it in Game Pass for real. So.
And then girlfriend and I have been playing through the the back half of It Takes Two. We're almost done with it, and still continues to be surprisingly creative in ways I like. I understand why this was a Game of the Year contender. I'll put it that way. It's legitimately legit incredible. Runs a little bit long in my opinion, but it's still good fun. And then this is what I was gonna message Gage yesterday or 2 days ago, whenever I just didn't. He doesn't know this. What? Why? What?
Nothing. Go ahead.
He doesn't know this, but before he played it, I had it downloaded and ready to go. I just couldn't get to it because I was doing other stuff. What? What happened, Dan?
Oh,
I've also he beat it, but I also had been playing Still Wakes the Deep. And I think Kaz, the protagonist of that game, is probably going to be one of my favorite performances of the year. Just the acting in that game is fucking phenomenal. But also, this is the surprise horror game of the year for me, I think. That is the way that game does horror is a way I haven't experienced in games in a long time. It's a different kind of horror, but one that still plays with the traditional when it has to. I haven't screamed in a horror game in a long time. And the opening like hour or two, I've screamed like 2 or 3 times playing this game. And some of the shit you see in it, it's really fucking good. And I have a sneaking suspicion why Gage loves it so much. At least part of it. One, I think is just like the blue collar aspect. I think just speaks to him on like a person, like he has a history in that with like his own life. I think that's valid. I think also one of the things that the game does really well is like it makes you interact with everything. Like you're not just pushing a button. Like you have to hold the button and then hold the separate button a certain way, and like those kinds of things on a minute-to-minute gameplay does really make you feel in it and make the horror feel tangible when you're like having to like jump onto a ladder, hold the ladder to climb button, but also you lose grip, so you have to hold the grip button. That kind of shit is cool. I know we're all like kind of burnt or like whatever about VR, but playing like 2 hours of this game was like fuck. A VR port of this game would also kind of go hard because of the way you're in. Like I do want to fucking spin the valve a certain way. You know what I mean? I want to like I want to look at my map and be like, okay, I have to like undo the pin of this and then go to the lever. Like that sounds kind of fun to do in VR, and I think it would be a different layer of horror. That's pretty cool. Good game. Response. Okay, cool. Gage, what you got for me?
I was gonna wait until it was in my time, and then I would give a response. Yes, still makes the deep pretty cool. I still stand by my statement where it feels like a game made by TV or movie writers, in that the dialogue is so much better than your average video game, especially your character. Like I think you're totally right. Kaz is such a great character, and like such a great flawed character, but not in like the cliche sort of like, oh, he's an anti-hero flawed character. Like no, he's just kind of a piece of shit a little bit, but like that's being a human sometimes. So I'm with you there, actually. Like Kaz is such a great character, and the performance is great. I think the performance for all the NPCs that are really great too, and especially the dialogue writing. As I said the first time, I think the dialogue writing is leagues ahead of what most of the time video game writing is in terms of like just speaking to each other. Still makes it deep. Yeah, I think it's still lacking in terms of the gameplay. I'm glad that you vibed with it more than I did in terms of gameplay. I didn't even think about a VR port, but I think this game would have absolutely dominated if it was a VR game. I think that the temperature around this game would be totally different. Everyone would be talking about it if this was a VR game. Also, I need to point this out though. Actually, no, I won't do it. Never mind. What you got for me? All the games that we mentioned. I'm going to shout out again for the 8th time Played Up. I love that game so much. And I think it was after we got back from Kentucky, but so I was talking to somebody online, and I was like, I'm going to look up the stats for this. And like the amount of hours I put into this game is shocking, even to me, as much as I love it. I'm like, wow, this is like one of my most played games, if not my most played game of 2024. So Played Up, shout out to Played Up.
Yeah, you screenshotted it and sent it to us, I think, and like the leaderboard.
You're not far behind me. Like you've got quite a few hours in it as well.
Yeah, I was surprised at how much. Like, obviously, it's you pulling me in.
It is. Sometimes you're right there saying, "Are we doing Played Up?"
That's true.
Time flies when you're having fun and automating things. I played FC for the first time and got absolutely dominated by Roshan. Wiped the floor with me. It was not even oh man, it was bad.
I just remember, while it's your turn, since you like this also, we've got to throw this in there real quick because we were talking about Orcs Must Die when we were here, and we're like, oh, is that co-op? And it's 2-player co-op. And then today we got an announcement of a new Orcs Must Die that is 4-player co-op. Let's go.
Exciting. I can't wait to go through the exact same thing I went with you with Christian, where you and I are going to try and drag him into this. He's like, I'm not playing this Chinese malware game, and then he's going to play a couple rounds of it and be like, is this fun? Is gaming back?
Yeah.
Is Orcs Must Die 3 or just Orcs Must Die?
There's a new one that they just announced, just literally today. That's coming in 2025. I don't remember what it's called.
So we're waiting
It's-
for that one.
Yeah, because that one's 4-player. The other ones are just co-op 2-player.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of good games. I don't know. Rock Band was awesome. It was great playing bass on Rock Band. Christian is an absolute wizard. I hate that you picked up that control. The first song was like you're getting like 5 stars. It's insane watching this man's fingers work.
Like that?
I did.
MGK.
I could hardly keep focus.
MGK.
No, don't do that, chat.
MGK.
Oh, I forgot I was hosting. Should we move into the topic of the show, fellas?
We should.
Sure.
All right, let's round out the episode. Let's take a look at 2024 in gaming, the second half. If you remember, and if not, that's okay. I can pull this up. 2 weeks ago, we did a predictions episode on the same thing, the second half in games. We're taking a look at the specific games that were coming out and only guessing what we think the open critic score is going to be. I wasn't on that episode, but I still contributed to the list. I have that list open in case we need to reference it, but there's a lot of games coming out. Nearly 20 on our list of games that we think are the biggest games of the second half of 2024. I can go over them real quick. I'll mention them, and then if you want to bring them up, of course we can. But what I really want to just talk about is like feelers for the rest of the year. How are we feeling right now at the midpoint? What are we wanting from our respective consoles? What kinds of things do we expect to be announced at the end, or we hope to be announced by the end of the year at any conference? And then sort of what we're thinking for game of the year so far. So while you think, I'll go ahead and read the list of games still yet to come out this year. Some of them I think are TBD. They don't have hard dates, but they are slated for 2024. So they might slip out, they might not, whatever. Black Myth Wukong comes out next month. Concord again coming out. I guess that's August or July, I don't know, but it's beta now. Star Wars Outlaws coming up very soon, continuing to get previews even now. I think there's also like preview events happening this week. Stalker 2 still slated, I think, for September. I'm excited about that one. Astrobot getting its first platform game. The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, that's the Zelda game starring Zelda for the very first time. Metaphor Refantasio comes out later. I think that's October. Black Ops 6, the first Treyarch game in years. I think we're all excited about even just seeing that game. Sonic and Shadow Generations, that's one for Row. Life is Strange Double Exposure, another one for Row, but also for me. Mario and Luigi Brothership, again, of course, the Switch continuing supposedly in the last year of its life, still putting out some bangers. Hopefully bangers. Assassin's Creed Shadows, finally the Japanese set Assassin's Creed game. Silent Hill 2 remake, no date on that game yet, I think. No, I think it's October. I take that back. But again, coming out this year. Avowed from Obsidian, big game for Xbox. Another big game for Xbox, one would hope, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Although I'm also with Gage, that is not, weirdly enough, not a blockbuster title, which is crazy. But like Indiana Jones, not the mega IP hit that we think of it as. That new movie did not do well.
No.
At all. New audiences do not care about Indiana Jones, regrettably. Dragon Age the Veilguard. People very excited about a new Dragon Age game. No date on this one yet, though. There was rumors that it did have one, but then they were rebuked. Who knows? Metal Gear Solid Delta, the Snake Eater remake, supposedly set for this year. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero coming out. And of course, last but not least, Lego Horizon Adventures. I also have a separate list of games that I think I didn't mention from there that I might throw in just randomly while we're talking. It's a personal list that I keep. That we covered the big hitters though. So, Dan, would you like to start first? And any thoughts you have on the rest of 2024? What are your thoughts on gaming this year?
Sure.
What you expect for the fall and beyond?
Yes, I will start with Indiana Jones because we just talked about that a second ago, and while I do not really give a shit about Indiana Jones as an IP because I've watched like 2 of the movies out of the I don't know how many there are.
Five, I think now.
5 now. 5.
Yeah. Like I like Indiana Jones as a character. I never really watched the movies that seriously. But what I am excited about is Machine Games, because like they have put out banger after banger, especially the Wolfenstein games. Wolfenstein 2, Wolfenstein the old New Blood and Old Blood, I think was the other one. Were both great expansions to those games, and I think their most recent one didn't hit as hard, Wolfenstein Youngblood, which was like the co-op spin-off type thing. But I think this is very exciting to see them come back, because they did such a great job revitalizing Wolfenstein that I'm just excited to see what they do with like an action adventure type game.
And I will respond the same way that Gage responded on that episode, and what I echoed in chat is that we have, of course, we don't doubt that the game will do well and that'll like critically be a good game.
Right.
We just don't think it'll sell well.
Not at all. 1.4 tops.
I think that's low. I think that's low still. I don't, because here's the thing. I don't think that the IP is the most important thing. Like, yes, I agree with you. I don't think that Indiana Jones is, it's not Spider-Man, obviously, or something like that Sony has. But I do think that, if Machine Games comes out and puts out a great game, they're not going to sell less than what they sold for Wolfenstein, in my opinion. Like, and Wolfenstein sold pretty well.
I'm going to be curious to see how sales number for any Xbox games do in the second half of the year, considering that supposedly a lot of people are canceling their Xbox Game Pass subscription. One would gather that if they're not getting their day one games via subscriptions, that maybe sales numbers would go up a little bit. Maybe I'm just talking out of my ass here, but
Well, and I guess that actually that's a good point, because sales numbers may not be Wolfenstein levels because of Game Pass. So I don't know. Yeah. Interesting.
If you want to recap, though, of the OpenCritic prediction, Gage was the lowest here with 78 for Indiana Jones. Roe with an 80, and then you and I, Daniel. Mano a mano. 88.
Hell yeah.
Wow, you guys are going way high.
I don't think
That is
that's
pretty high. That's probably a little bit high for me.
It's a little
What
high.
was I thinking? Yeah, well,
Wolfenstein 2 got an 87 on OpenCritic. So it's not crazy. It's not out of the realm,
That's true.
can't wait for the Silent Hill 2 remake.
Really.
I need to. The way I've been talking about this game is that I just need to know. At this point, we all know that Bloober just does not handle nuance well at all. Weirdly enough, though, it seems like for this time around, they learned a little bit, but they also learned nothing. From everything I've gathered in all the trailers and the way they talk about this game, is that they are improving in some spots, but also just completely missing what this game is in others. And I just need to be part of the online discourse around that game, which is wild. I genuinely disengage from all gaming discourse usually, because I don't give a fuck. But when it's something like this, I need to know. The same way when Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, that Snake Eater remake comes out, I just need to know. Although that one's different because that's a 1-to-1. They're
Right.
it's the same story, the same voice. They're just putting that
Right.
into fucking UE5 or whatever. But still,
Right.
I just kind of want to know.
Would you be happier if they did that for Silent Hill? Like, if it was something like that?
It still wouldn't work. Okay, hold on. The thing that works about Delta is that they're including a classic mode where they have not just the filter for the game or the way color grading works in general. They have camera angles that are, if not 1-to-1, very similar to the original game.
Right.
Silent Hill 2 is entirely reworked.
Right.
So I don't know, man. I want to know.
I'm gonna throw out a crazy one for you guys. One that everyone here has completely forgotten about, and I don't blame you for forgetting about it. But I am in the same vein that you are, where you're like, I just have to know. I'm curious about this because the first game kind of took the world by storm for not just a little bit, but for like a couple years. And that's Arc 2, which is still slated for 2025. I have a feeling it's going to slip out.
Vin Diesel?
Fucking Vin Diesel for family, whatever. But the fact that this game is going to keep a lot of, obviously we know it's going to keep the dino taming stuff, it's going to keep the survival aspect stuff, but the most that they've talked about it is that they've completely reworked the moment-to-moment gameplay to be more quote-unquote Souls-like. So it's third person only, there's a parry system, a dodging system, all this stuff. And honestly, for me, that might be enough to make Arc 2 a really big game for me, because the moment-to-moment gameplay was kind of what was lacking. The combat felt super clunky, and none of that stuff was great. But the taming of your dinosaurs, the breeding, all that stuff, all those systems were awesome. So if they can nail the combat and the traversal gameplay, this might be something for me.
This fucking guy says it's a Souls-like, and then mentions parrying and blocking. You mean character action?
It is a self-described. They've said Souls-like. I know those things don't equal Souls-like. That's what they've said.
Oh god.
There's I don't know. Arc 2 I feel like is not on a good path right now. That game's been in development for, when was that announced? It's been in development for forever.
2020?
I think it was 20 or 21. It was definitely after COVID. I was home watching that Vin Diesel.
It's been a long time. It hasn't been,
It was all right. This should tell us everything, right? In my eyes, it was unveiled at the Game Awards in 2020. It was set to launch in 2022.
Yeah.
2022.
Yeah. Listen. Arc, the first Arc, it holds a special place in my heart. There was a good year and a half where I was into that game, like I was into Minecraft. Like I was just in on it, and I would not mind another big survival game coming out and getting back into that loop.
That's fair.
But you're right. No, it's not looking good. And like I said, 2025, I'm doubting it's actually going to make that date. I think it's going to slip to 2026 if it comes out at all. We'll see.
I'll keep an eye on this one. I'm curious. I hear people throw around the word Souls-like, I for whatever reason like tune it out. Not for the reasons you think, but because like for me that's like you lose an identity of what that like game like Arc with a Souls-like. I wouldn't need to know what that looks like, but also a lot of games get that wrong. And the thing that excites me about like Phantom Blade Zero and Black Myth Wukong is that they're like distancing themselves from Souls-like.
Right,
into a more traditional character action game that like we used to play in like the fucking PS3, Xbox 360 era, which is good. I think having variety in that regard, I think is good. And Arc with a more of a Souls formula, I gotta see it. And
there's, in my opinion, there's too many people trying to copy what FromSoft's doing instead of just making something their own. Like everyone's talking about Soulsborne and all of this. It's like, well, cool, but let's let FromSoft make that because that's their bread and butter. Why don't you make something that's your own, your own thing?
For sure.
It was so cool. It's so cool to play Phantom Blade Zero and then be like immediately like told, it's like, yeah, we're actually we're inspired by Sekiro, but actually it plays more like a Devil May Cry game, or it's like, oh fuck yeah, like cool. I'm gonna throw out some questions for you. Hades 2, does that get a full release, a 1.0?
I fucking hope so.
In 2024.
It's on my fan. I put so much stock into that, dude. I really hope so. I doubt it though. But I don't know. They've been doing quite a few. I have not been playing it. I will admit I played it when it launched. I put like maybe 4 or 5 hours into it. Thoroughly enjoyed it, but I thought to myself, I am going to wait. I'm going to wait until everything's done. All the balancing changes are done, because it definitely did feel unbalanced. And I jumping into Hades 1 after having like people like recommending it and me being like, I'm not gonna like it, playing that game, and then obviously Hades being the most incredible roguelike I've ever played. I'm like, I kind of want to wait for that experience again, because it's not quite there yet in terms of the boons and the cards and the weapons and all that stuff. So I've not been playing it, but I have been following it on Steam. I have been updating it every time, and they do seem to be pumping out frequent updates that are maybe not major content updates, but like big rebalances. They're doing a lot of that stuff. So I'm hoping it hits this year. I doubt it, but I'm really hoping.
Oh,
No.
please, Dan.
Go ahead.
I've seen updates from Supergiant on Twitter like go out as most like sorry, excuse me. I'm fumbling on my own words, stumbling. 1 to 2 times a month, there's like meaningful balance updates going out to Hades 2, which bodes well, I think, for that game.
Here's what I will say. I did some research while Gage was talking. The first Hades, granted, they're probably a much bigger studio now, can handle it a little bit better. The first Hades remained in early access for 21 months, starting in December 2018 on Epic Games Store exclusively. So I would say it's probably...
Okay.
Nah.
From my understanding of the first Hades, though, from the research that I did for some of my work videos, is that it was there for that long because they needed to figure out how to both combine roguelite with the story. The reason why it stayed in early access for so long is that they like needed to figure out how creating a narrative through a roguelite would work, and that took a long time. They've figured that out for Hades 2, from what I've read so far, and they're like working on finishing some of the story beats, even though it's already done, and then working on like the end game like areas that are not currently available in early access. So I don't think it'll. I don't think you were saying that it's going to be that long, but like, it'll be a while, but it could go either way, I think, for me.
The other thing is, Nintendo's successor console comes out in Q1 probably, or maybe Q2 2025, and they have a long history of working together as well. So do they hold it for a Switch 2 release date game? I don't know.
That could go either way for me too. I could see that like just coming out, and then you get an announcement in a couple months like it's coming to X console, because it seems like that's
right
how things have been working nowadays this year with indies like Balatro, Vampire Survivors, etc. comes to consoles after a few months of success on PC. I can see that happening here, but also maybe you're right. Hades 2 is now a massive game for Supergiant. They could 100% be also working on like ports to release alongside a 1.0 on PC for sure.
I want to throw out another game just because this might be quick, because I know how Dan feels about it. I don't know how you feel about it, Christian, but I'm actually very excited for it. I love this game as a kid, and I'm ready to dive back into it. Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. Did you spend any time with this game at all?
0.
Perfect. Then we can just move right on. Gage is excited for it. Gage is excited for it, and I'm ready to get back into that. I'm ready to get back into the mall with Frank West.
What I will say is this game looks like a very much, or a very close 1-to-1 remake of the original, and I think a lot of Dead Rising fans will be excited about that.
Absolutely.
One more question. Well, I mean, I have more questions, but one more game-specific question for games we do know about. Silksong. Does that get announced anywhere this year?
Gamescom? Question mark?
Yeah, right, dude.
Now here's the thing. Any other year, I would agree with your reaction. 100%. But we have heard from notable insiders like Jez Corden that apparently Xbox is trying to duplicate the level of the show they just had.
That's true.
With the show that they are having at Gamescom. People are saying that the Gamescom show is going to be as big as their conference was, because they are trying to keep that momentum going. If I was them and I wanted to really get some positive buzz, a Hollow Knight Silksong is definitely wouldn't hurt. Definitely would not hurt.
I was just picturing in my head, because the last time we saw Silksong with Xbox was when they were in the event that said all these games would be out in the next 12 months. Right. So what if they do that again at Gamescom? Yeah, all these games are out in the next 12 months. Silksong. Oh no.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the venue you do it at though, because that gets significantly less eyes than any other sort of event. There's
yes
stuff
and no,
there.
though, right? But the
There's
YouTube
stuff there,
videos
but
afterwards.
Sure, but like for that, like that would be reserved, I think, for me. Like updates to games you do know about that get like second trailers or like fuller like gameplay. Like maybe you get like a Doom gameplay of like half a level or whatever. Extended look at Dragon Age.
What if it's a shadow drop game? What if they say it's available right now? Because I feel like those often cause buzz, and Hades is a type of game I think that doesn't necessarily geared towards the casual Silk Song isn't necessarily geared towards the casual audience.
You would want to reserve that for a conference that has the most eyes if you're doing that. And that's a TGA's.
True. It's true.
You're crazy. That'd be huge though.
Can I add two more hopes that we see at this proclaimed?
I mean, I still got loads of questions, so I mean, whenever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we keep hearing that Xbox wants to match what they did at E3. I fucking hope that we see this Gears collection and Fallout 3 remaster / remake. I want to see both of those.
Absolutely. I think not. I don't know. I don't know that we'd normally talk about this on the show, so I'll just mention it now. Fallout. This is Christian's reaction to this is going to be great. Fallout, I think, has 17 Emmy nominations.
It does, yeah. I saw that today.
17 Emmy nominations. I don't know that if you do have like the rumors have suggested, if they do have this game done, I don't know what you gain from sitting on it any longer. So I'm absolutely praying and hoping that we get an announcement. I mean, a shadow drop would be great, but even a short announcement to release window from Gamescom, I don't know what you gain from not doing that. I was fucking shocked that it wasn't there at the Xbox press conference. So I'm with you, Dan. I want to see it. I think we should see it. I really don't know what you gain from not showing it.
And it would make sense in terms of spreading the wealth a little bit, because while we necessarily weren't super excited about it, they had a Fallout 76 update at the E3 event, so it would make sense to spread out the IP a bit more with the show being so successful and having another thing to show off at Gamescom.
Absolutely.
What was the second thing you had to hope for?
The Gears collection that we've been hearing about for years.
You did it. Yeah.
Yeah, the 1 through 3 collection, up-res, remastered, whatever it is, and I would assume Unreal Engine 5, but I don't know. Yeah, I'd love to see that.
I mean, it'd be a great time to do it. I mean, if not now, at least announce it and then have it lead up to the release of the next, that Gears prequel. Yes. It's a great way to get momentum for that franchise for sure. I have some questions regarding just any conference for the rest of the year. It's been a couple of years since the release of 2 games that I'm gonna bring up. I want to know if another game from this developer or another game in the series we'll see this year. The next Halo something.
No.
Why?
Why? Because they're still a long ways away. The rumors are that they're still either in very early production or haven't even started production. They're still, in planning phases for the next game. I think the biggest thing is they're trying to build the new engine because they're switching to Unreal Engine, or at least that's the speculation. And, people who can read LinkedIn that says they're hiring Unreal Engine experts. I think they have to get the engine in place. They're concepting ideas, and then, I think we're still at least a year from seeing a teaser even for that game. Maybe at E3 next year we could get a little teaser like we got in 2018 for Halo Infinite.
E3.
I'm sorry, fuck. The Jeff 3, the Keel 3, whatever you want to call it.
G3.
Yeah.
Key 3.
The Key 3.
To add to that, I once saw a tweet months ago at this point, I think, that said, essentially, if I were Xbox, I would do everything in my power to get Xbox on a, I can change, you can change this however you want, bi-yearly cycle with, smaller game, but like a new campaign and just like an evolving multiplayer. Doesn't have to be COD cadence of like yearly, but I think bi-yearly or even like once every 3 years. Would that be something that you think would strengthen sort of the current Halo brand, you think? Having a new campaign come out every like 2 to 3 years?
I think it depends on the way you're looking at that, because me and Gage have talked extensively about this, and Gage has also been on record many times years ago saying that he would like to see other developers take over the possibility of making a game, which I am all for. I just want to clarify, Gage. I believe you were saying, let's fire 343 and let's get this developer to make the next game, which I was like, fuck no, I don't want that.
Let's fire 343? Let's fire Bonnie Ross. Absolutely. I stand by that. I think she has been a problem for a very long time. I definitely did not seriously say let's fire all of 343. I think I know the joke that you're thinking of when I said that we should round up all of the 343. Yeah, that was definitely a hyperbolic joke and not for real. But
yes, but I think you would agree, and you have said before, we would love to see more Halo games and give it to more developers, because Halo Wars 2 was not developed by 343. It was developed by Creative Assembly, and that game is fantastic. It's an RTS, so it's a lot more niche. So it didn't get the attention that it deserved, but that game is amazing. I love that game.
Yeah, more like Halo Snore.
Oh, get out of here. Get out of here.
Like I've said this for a very long time. I think the one thing Xbox does not realize is that, and I actually think I think you half agree with this. You don't agree with the second half. I think that Halo could be a bigger property if Xbox were to realize that the universe is kind of what makes it special. I think that Master Chief is awesome. Like you and I have a disagreement. I think that Master Chief should have stopped with Halo 3 and he should have been on the back burner for a bit. I think that the art style and the lore, especially of the Bungie days of Halo, I think it lends itself to so many spin-offs, and it doesn't have to be a first-person shooter like we saw with Halo Wars. Like the RTS, and that totally worked. A lot of people have said it before, but like an Alien Isolation type game where you're a Marine on a regular-ass ship that gets hit with the Flood, that would be fucking awesome. People have mentioned a Band of Brothers type ODST game, like maybe a third-person, gritty war game. Absolutely. Like Xbox needs to realize that Master Chief, they want Master Chief so badly to be this super successful logo, and like he has been, but I don't know that, like, I think Halo has more opportunity outside of Master Chief that Xbox has not tapped into, and I definitely I want to see more studios making more Halo games and not have to make it all about Master Chief specifically.
I think you
can I respond?
Sorry.
Yeah. Before you go, Dan?
Go for it.
I think there's a middle ground, but I would lean more towards Dan's side on this, where I think like absolutely not. I think it would be important to continue like telling stories like with Master Chief. If you want to have like additional games that like evolve the property, 100%. Give those to other developers to expand on the IP and have those available, 100%. But to me, Halo is totally tied to the identity of Master Chief. You can totally have like evolving stories with him, but like I don't know.
So here's where I think.
I'll just say even the game series is named after a weapon made by beings that don't even exist in the core trilogy. Like I think
it doesn't mean anything.
Gage, I'm about to.
It's the title of the series, Halo. It has nothing to do with Master Chief.
Gage, I'm about to be on your side here.
Oh wow!
You got to listen. I think that there's a misconception here. I don't think that Master Chief should have died or should have disappeared after Halo 3. That's my part that I disagree with Gage on.
Right.
Personally, I think that the way that 343 handled Master Chief's story, especially in Halo 4, was beautiful. I loved Halo 4's campaign, and I loved the way that they built on Cortana and Master Chief's relationship. And I know Gage has slightly different thoughts on Halo 4, but I loved what they did with that. And that story, to me, epitomized the perfect relationship between the two. Halo 5, It was what it was, you know. Terrible.
It was a game.
Yes. Halo Infinite essentially reset the universe, so to speak, for Master Chief and the weapon, Cortana, whatever you want to call her. And what I've already told Gage off air about what I think that should happen is, A, Steve Downes isn't getting any younger. He's the voice of Master Chief. And B, I do believe that there is a time when Master Chief needs to exit the series, because I don't think that Master Chief is the entire series. And the important thing here is we need the story wrapped up. The end of Halo Infinite leaves you on a cliffhanger. And in my opinion, I think that Master Chief's story would be perfectly epitomized by something heroic or something incredible happening, to where he's either giving his life or it's open to interpretation what happens to him, and he continues to live on, so to speak, in the minds of the universe. And that is the way I would love the next Halo campaign to end with, because I do think there's a lot more characters that are in the Halo universe that could absolutely fill that same void. And I've also pitched Jen Taylor, the voice of Cortana / the weapon. She would be a perfect bridge to a new cast of characters or character, whatever, to bridge the next generation of whatever Halo becomes story-wise.
I have a question that's going to make Dan mad.
Uh-oh.
Is it true that the beginning of Halo Infinite completely disregarded the end of Halo 5, where they're like, yeah, there was a big cliffhanger, but that was resolved off screen?
Well, sort of.
I believe Gage.
Oh, no, I'm telling you honestly, sort of, because Halo Wars 2 has some context behind that as well. Gage hasn't finished Halo Wars 2 yet, but Halo Wars 2 directly follows Halo 5's story, which is weird because the first Halo Wars takes place 30 years before the first Halo game, but then they go into cryostasis and they wake up in Halo 5 timeline. But anyways, yes, there is a bit of a cliffhanger moment in Halo at the end of Halo 5 where Cortana is seizing power. For anyone who hasn't played at this point, it's been 2015.
Don't give me the spoilers. Don't give me the spoilers. I got an Xbox on the way. I'm gonna figure it out in a couple of months.
Oh, okay. No spoilers. All right.
It does kind of disregard it a little bit.
It does disregard it, but it doesn't. It's hard to explain without going into the spoilers.
No, but I mean, so Christian was kind of right, where it's like, it's not that nothing happened; it's that stuff happens off screen. That is kind of
correct. Yes, there is a jump in time. Yes, there's a massive jump in time. Correct. Yes. That's
a little unfortunate.
I would still argue there's a reason for that, but it's spoilery, so that's why we're not going down that route.
Yeah, we'll circle back in a few months.
Okay.
IO Interactive. Hitman 3 was a while ago. They're working on the James Bond game.
Right.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Teaser for that? You think this year maybe? Could we see that?
I would love that.
Are they in bed with Xbox? I can't remember.
They are with a separate project. It's a separate
project, right? It's like the Dragon Fantasy related one, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Do we see that? That's a great question. I think we could. I don't know where we would see it. I don't know who would show it, but
Jeff Keighley.
So you think next year? You're thinking next year?
This
Game
year.
Awards.
The Game Awards.
Game Awards. You're right. I forgot about that.
Or there's nothing to say they couldn't show it off at the Gamescom Xbox event, since they have a relationship for a different game.
All right, Dan, please wrap it up. Listen. Yeah, that would be cool. I love IO. I think what they did with Hitman was awesome. And I don't know. I liked Absolution. I know a lot of people didn't, because it was kind of like the Splinter Cell Conviction of the Hitman games, where it was very much more action oriented and took away a lot of the stealth. But I liked Hitman Absolution a lot. And then when they came out with what is now called The World of Assassination, but at the time was just called Hitman, that game and the two sequels that followed it were so good. It's such a good blend of action and classic Hitman stealth games. And I'm normally not a huge stealth player. Like I like the old Splinter Cell games, and that's kind of it. And obviously the early Assassin's Creed games. But those Hitman games, I was doing the daily contracts, I was doing the weekly contracts, I was speed running, doing the what is it called, silent assassin suit only runs. And I think I did like half of the missions. I was able to get that before I, dropped it for something else. So yeah, I'm super excited for the 007, and I think their formula there, like that's such a natural progression of like IP from them to go to from Hitman to 007. That's I want to see it, and I want it to be good, and I think it will be. I was kind of killing it.
I'm with you.
We know that Sony, I mean, they announced a couple months ago that they have no big major release titles from their IP in 2024. They dissed Astro, but whatever. I got to live with that. Which means that 2025 may be like where we start to see what the second half of Sony's console will look like. Just an easy question. Do we see any new IP announcements this year at either like a Sony event or a TGA by the end of the year? Do you think you could see something, and from what studio do you think?
I think so. I think because we're not getting any games, that would be the perfect opportunity to do like a full cinematic tease for a new IP with no release date attached to it. Just kind of like, here's something. Don't worry, we're still doing. I think we'll see Ben's new game teased.
Yeah,
I think.
Hmm.
And
But working on
Gorilla.
something that's well, I don't know, because Ben was working on a multiplayer game after Days Gone, and then that got canceled. So I don't know if they're like ready to go on something yet.
You could be right. I heard that they had. I heard that they were a little naughty and a little defiant in that what they were working on right after Days Gone was a multiplayer sequel to Days Gone. Sony stepped in and said no, and I think the new game that they're working on is using a lot of that as a backbone. I think I read a rumor about that, or maybe it was part of the Sony leaks that we had. But I think I don't think they stopped fully and had to start from scratch. I think they took a lot of what they were working on and are putting it to whatever this new IP is. That's the only reason I think we might see it. But you're right. If they did have to start from scratch, I think there's no chance.
Weren't they originally working on a Days Gone sequel?
They were, but Sony told them they didn't want it.
Right.
Yeah, they were pitching it, and they were like, "No, that shit out of here, fuck off." That's what they said.
Which is sad. Days Gone. Days Gone is a great game.
Here we go. Hold on, I gotta open up this video that I made for work, because I need to find a graphic that I use, because there was a graphic going around from one of these like Sony like fiscal year presentations. The one that I think that either Herman gave or the other person in charge recently gave. And they had on there like a list of here I found it. They had a list of all their studios. Split up into like the certain sections. Okay, so there's 8 single player narrative focused titles coming from there, either through first party or partner studios. Bluepoint, let's not forget Bluepoint has an original game that they've been working on for 4 years now. And then they have 9 evolving / multi-genre and or live service focus games. And in there is where I think the Ben Studio is living. So they could be like this weird middle ground multiplayer project. Who knows?
Should I get crazy?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this isn't for points or anything.
I know. I was thinking for the longest.
Gage isn't even here.
I know.
He fucking walked away.
He has his headset on, though, I believe. I was thinking for the longest time that Naughty Dog's next game was The Last of Us Part 3 until they've talked about in numerous examples, as you guys pointed out, that the TV show seemingly is going to expand season 2 into possibly 3 seasons, which would give them essentially 6 years, because 2 years between for production. That makes me think that Naughty Dog's next game is going to be their new IP that we may see soon. Yeah, because it's been 4 years.
Fantasy and or base game. It's unclear what that was going to be. Sure. Yeah. I'm with you. I still think that's their next IP, but I think we don't see yet. I think the one that's definitely up next is, for whatever reason, is that Santa Monica Cory Barlog game. They seem to be on a cadence at Santa Monica where they're like, even though these are like longer, bigger games, they're churning them out a bit more faster than Naughty Dog is. So
That's true.
I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that we get that one first before. We're just speculating. Who knows?
I guess the first God of War came out in 2018. The second one came out in 2022 in later part of the year. So 4-year cadence. That's the same as 2016 to 2020 for Naughty Dog for Uncharted 4 to Last of Us Part 2.
The caveat there, though, is that Cory Barlog was working on this since 2018 with like a smaller amount of people, and Naughty Dog was full house hands-on for both The Last of Us and their multiplayer project that got canned. So
That's true.
pipelines, I think, are different for Naughty Dog, which is why I think you see the Santa Monica one first. And then I think maybe Ghost 2 still has a possibility of being revealed by Sucker Punch at some point. Maybe not this year, but I think that one is definitely up soon for them.
Yeah, that was 2020 also, right? Or 21?
Yep, that was the month after The Last of Us Part 2.
Dang.
So it's been a minute for them. Anything else?
Time flies. The fuck?
It does, man. It fucking does. I told you guys, though, an hour 45 just with these small things that I had. I knew we would run the clock here. Are we going to play zombies together?
Hell yeah.
Why are you smiling?
Hell yeah.
We forgot to mention that during our upcoming releases, but Black Ops, I am...
What do you mean? No, I mentioned it.
Did you?
Yeah.
He did.
Well, you were listing off all the things, but we didn't talk about it, did we?
Oh.
No. Yeah.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I hope that...
You gonna be good?
I hope so. I mean, I think it'll be for sure be good. Most Call of Duty games are good. The question is, is it great?
Did you like Modern Warfare 2018 or whatever that was, 2019, the reboot Modern Warfare?
I liked Modern Warfare 2019 a lot. I played it quite a bit.
Will Black Ops 6 be better than that?
I hope so. I think so. Zombies, man.
People give that game shit, but I also consider it like a return to form for Call of Duty in a lot of ways.
It felt like a good shot in the arm, absolutely. Like it kind of got things back up and running.
You know, I saw discourse of people complaining about Treyarch announcing that they will not continue having score streaks like live on like after you die in Black Ops 6, and I looked at that and I was like, why the fuck would that be a thing? It should have been, you know, when you die it gets reset always.
Well, it would take the place of a perk, or like a good perk.
Oh.
If I remember how they had it, yeah. But you only get them once per game, because obviously you keep them after you die. So you still have to get kills, and all the good ones you only get it once.
It's like, yeah, that's too many fucking score streak attacks on the map at one time when you're bleeding into each life. Like, it should just be one life.
I think it was a good balance.
I lean more towards Dan's side. I think if you die, tough it up. You gotta start over again.
Yeah, but that's a kill streak.
Yeah, I just think score streaks should work the same way.
Well, yeah, the score
you're already giving yourself an advantage by not having to get kills. You can go sit on the flag and...
Motherfucker, the trade-off is that you're not using perks that you would otherwise use for like a kill streak-centered build. And you sacrifice that, and you only get them once per game.
I swear there have been games that have score streaks in
there
perks.
has, yes. I think there's score streaks that have gone through, like Treyarch's previous games have gone through deaths without a perk. I'm pretty sure.
You still get all your perks and you get score streaks, which I felt,
right.
and it loops. So I thought that was a bit much.
There's no way it loops. Absolutely, it can't.
Yeah.
Yes,
because people are upset that they're no longer looping it. That's one of the discourses.
You can play King of the Hill or you know, Hardpoint, and you just go sit on the flag for however long, and now you've got 8 fucking AC-130s raining down constantly. No thanks.
Let's see here. I gotta look this up. Maybe I can look at this up after that. Here, this is post-show content. Until then, thank you again to everyone joining us live on YouTube and Twitch, as well as podcast services everywhere, including Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music. Did that change?
Yes, because
That's
they
Google
don't
podcast, right?
Yeah, they don't do Google Podcasts anymore.
Wait, hold on. So YouTube Music is the correct thing.
Yes.
Okay. Spotify and everywhere else you get your pods. Thank you, Roshan, who's on vacation. Thank you, me. Thank you, Gage. That's Daniel. And this has been Podcast PXN, and we are signing off for the day.
Much love and keep on gaming.
Adios.